All right, so section 2.1b, that's today's lesson. It's called solving equations. We're not going to be doing the super easy stuff like x plus 1 equals 5 or anything like that, but we are doing things that have multiple variables in an equation, sometimes on both sides of the equation. No calculators cannot do this. I've had many students sometimes tell me, like, I can't get like 4x plus 6x to work. And I'm like, well, these don't do it, right? If you want to spend the money on the $150 one, those can do it. But normal calculators don't do variable addition and subtraction. So this is going to be all basically like terms that you guys are going to be using. Okay, so I have 6 examples for us today. I know we did like 10 yesterday, but just 6 today. So first example that we're going to do, all this is going to be under the simplify direction. Okay, so actually not simplify, solve, because we are solving. Sometimes they say evaluate, it depends. Evaluate, solve, they mean the same thing. So, example number 1. 14 is equal to 6 minus 2n minus 6n. All right, so kind of like what we did yesterday, we are going to be combining like terms. Okay, my like terms are the negative 2n and the negative 6n on the right side. Okay, so I want to put those together. So negative 2n minus 6n is negative what? 8, right? So negative 8n. Now, usually what you want to do is get the variable on one side, the numbers on the other. So let's get that 6, and let's push it over to the other side. Okay? Now, I don't know how you guys like to do it. I'm going to show it 2 different ways, okay? And then I'll kind of choose one. But a lot of you guys were taught that what you're going to do is you're going to show the subtraction on both sides, okay? You're going to show the subtraction on both sides. Some of us do it in our head, okay? But when you do the subtraction, it cancels out, right? And 14 minus 6 is 8, which is equal to negative 8n. What do I do to both sides to solve for n? I got to divide, right? Because it's negative 8 times n, right? So I got to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. So we're going to divide by negative 8 on both sides. And that gives me the answer of negative 1 equal to n. Now, the way I like to do this, and I mean, it's not like I'm saving you tons of time, but what I'm saving you is a little bit of writing. Okay, so let me just change the color just so you know it's different. What I would have done on this step right here, and you can just watch, you don't have to write this out. I usually just do that. I draw an arrow and I say I'm throwing the 6 over there. Okay? When you change a number to the opposite side, you give it the opposite sign. Okay? So right now it's a positive 6, right? So when I throw it to the other side, it becomes negative 6. So it becomes 14 minus 6. Okay? So I just do that in my head, and I write this. Okay? So you might see me do that. You might see me throw an arrow over, basically saying I'm adding or subtracting, right? Whatever the number is, I'm doing the opposite of it. So if it's a positive 2, I'm doing a minus 2. If it's a negative 3, I'm doing a plus 3 when I put an arrow over. And then from there, obviously, we'll divide. Now, I always get people that ask me, like, do I have to show every step? No, you do not. You show whatever steps you need, okay? So if you can do this all in your head, go for it. If you would have said, like, well, that's a negative 8n, and then I'll move the 6 over, that's 8, so 8 is equal to negative 8n, so n is equal to negative 1, right? That's great, okay? What I don't want you to do is just write the answer because you took a picture of it, right? Like I told you guys, I'm all for apps. I like the fact that there's apps out there that can show you, like, hey, you did it wrong. Here were the steps you were supposed to do, and you can look at it and say, okay, this is what I was supposed to do. That's great. What I don't like is when people say, I could care less, just give me the answers, right? That's because then what's going to happen is you're going to do just fine for the first 4 or 5 weeks. Then things are going to get difficult, and then you're going to give up, then you're going to fail, then they're going to see you in summer school, right? I mean, who wants to come in summer school? I don't even want to teach during the summer. Why do you guys want to be here during the summer, right? So a little bit of effort, guys. Remember, this is your job, right? When you guys go apply for a job, they say, what's your occupation? You put student, right? This is your current job, is to be a student. So you guys got to do your job well, okay? So here's the next one that we're solving. So the difference between example number 2 and example number 1 is that the variables are on opposite sides of the equation this time. Okay? They're not on the same side. So it makes it a little bit more, a couple more steps maybe, right? But I always tell people when you do this, and you can do however you want, but the way I teach it, I always tell them combine your like terms first, and then, combine your variables first, then combine your numbers later. Okay? So I see I have an x and a negative 8x. Which one's big? Which one's bigger? X or negative 8x? X is, right? Because that's a 1x. The other one's negative 8x. So let's always move the small one over so we can keep numbers positive. So I'm going to move the negative 8x over there. So when I move the negative 8x, what does it become? A plus 8x, right? It becomes a 9x overall, right? It becomes a plus 8x. So x plus 8x is, as you said, 9x plus 7 equals to 7. Okay? Now I'm going to move the numbers. Okay? I have a 7 that's all by itself on the left side, a 7 on the right side. Since they're both the same, I'm going to move that 7 over to the right. It's a positive 7 right now, but when I move it over, it becomes a what? A negative. So 7 minus 7, that's 0. And then I have to divide, right? I'll show it, but like I said, if you don't want to, that's okay. So x is what? 0, right? Not 9. Sometimes I get people that say 9. When you have nothing and you cut it into 9 pieces, you still have nothing, okay? I have tons of nothing, and I can cut it 32 different ways and give each one of you nothing, right? That's fine. But you can't make something come out of nothing, right? So there you go. X is equal to 0. So nothing too difficult, like I said. This is all review. All chapter 2 is review. So don't be surprised like if tomorrow we're doing something you've done before. That's the whole point of chapter 2. All right, example number 3. Kind of switching it up, adding a couple of things in here. Because like I said, in your homework, there's a lot of different things that they're going to be throwing at you. So in this case, yes, we have variables on the same side of an equation, but now we actually have to do a little bit of distribution at the same time. Okay, so we're going to want to distribute first. Yeah, do it on your phone. And then once you have it, just put your phone right. All right, so we're going to first distribute, okay? So let's distribute here and there. So I got negative 2n minus 20n plus 8 is equal to 52. All right. I am going to combine my like terms. So if I combine negative 2n minus 20n, what do I get? Negative 22. Yeah, negative 22n. So negative 22n plus 8 is equal to 52. Now, I have my variable hanging out all by itself on the left side, but I have that plus 8. Let me move that over. So if it's a positive 8, when I move it to the other side, it becomes a minus. Okay? So 52 minus 8. What is that? 40, say again? 44. Yeah, 44. And now we're just going to divide by negative 22, and we should get an answer that works out nicely. N is equal to negative 2. By the way, sometimes you'll get some fractions, and people say like, well, what if I got like a 44 over 3? Do I have to divide it? No, just leave it 44 over 3. They'll say, do I have to write it as a mixed number? Right? What would that be? 14 and 2/3, and I'd be like, no, it's fine. Just leave it the way it is. Okay? So just leave it as a fraction if it's a fraction. Reduce it. I do ask you guys to reduce it. If you have like 2/4, please write half. Okay, but that's where the calculator comes in, right? You can, with one of those that I showed you guys, you can just put 2/4 because it has a fraction button, and it'll say 1/2, right? So you can always reduce it. All right. So like I said, so far, our review, all this stuff should seem very, very familiar. Oops, I'm sorry, this is example 4. Remember, all these things are things you're going to see on your homework. Some of these are homework problems. Actually, most of them are. Not every one of them, but at least 4 of them are from your homework. The other 2, I think, that are not from your homework are very similar to your homework, and I just didn't want to do the only problem that looked like that, so I created a different version. Okay, so here we go. We have 23 plus 3v is equal to -3 minus 5 times 5 minus 4v. Right? So we're going to have to distribute first, right? We want to try to get that distribution out of the way first. So let's do that. This will be 23 plus 3v is equal to -3 minus, well, -5 times 5 is -25. And -5 times -4v is positive 20v. Now clean up both sides if you can. On the left side, I can't do anything. So I'm just going to write 23 plus 3v. On the right side, though, -3 minus 25, that's -28 plus 20v. Now, like I said, I like to combine my variables first, and I always like to move the smaller one over to the bigger one because that keeps my numbers positive. At least my variables, it keeps them positive. So 3v is smaller than 20v, so I'm going to throw this over here. And if you want to, go ahead and do a double switch, okay? So we'll move this that way. Oh, okay, thank you. Oh, you guys are leaving? Yeah. Okay, thank you. So if you want to do a double switch, go for it. Okay, it's up to you. I'm going to take care of the variable first. If I get the 3v and move it over to where the 20 is, that's 20v minus 3v, so that's going to be 17v. And if I move the -28 over to the left side, that adds it, right? So 23 plus 28, that's 51. Now, do I encourage people to do that normally? No, because sometimes people get lost when too much stuff is happening. Okay? But if you're okay with it, do it. Okay? Like I said, you don't have to show me every single step. There's a lot of steps that I don't show. Okay? So do whatever you feel you need. If I divide both sides by 17, what do I get? 3. So yeah, v is equal to 3. We got 2 more of these, and then I'll give you guys your assignment. Notice we're only 13 minutes in, okay? It's not like I've been taking a half hour. Maybe it seems like it. Sorry if it does. But we're only 13 minutes in. Like I said, I try to give you guys less than 25 minutes of a lesson. That way you have at least 25 minutes in class to try to get your homework done. Okay? I wish my teachers would have done that in high school because I always had to use my study hall to do all my homework. Which I guess is the point of study hall, right? But if I could have done it earlier, that would have been great. I'm going to let you guys try doing this one on your own. I'm going to pause the video just to give you guys a chance to try it out. Let me pause it right now. All right, so we are back. So let me kind of move this up here. First thing you're going to have to do is distribute. So you guys should have distributed, right? So that would have been 32 equals to -4n plus 4. Since there's only one variable, then that means all I got to do is just move the number on the very far right, the 4. When I move that 4 over to that side, it becomes a minus. So 32 minus 4 is 28. And that's going to equal to -4n. And if I divide both sides by -4, you guys should get a -7. Okay, let's do one more like this. I'm going to let you guys work on it, then we'll check. All right? So here we go. Example number 6, last one. 8 plus 10 times 8x minus 8 is equal to, now there's a pretty big number here, just take your time with it, negative 152. So I'm going to pause the video, let you guys work on it, and then we'll check. Alright, so we're back to this example number 6. We have 8 plus 10 times the quantity of 8x minus 8. And that's equal to negative 152. So as usual, anytime you see a parenthesis with a number in front, you're going to want to distribute it. So this is going to go over here. So I'm going to put 8 plus 80x minus 80 is equal to negative 152. That looks correct. So on the left side, I can combine 8 minus 80. So that's negative 72 plus 80x is equal to negative 152. Okay. Next, I gotta leave that 80x by itself. So that negative 72, I'm gonna throw that over to the right-hand side. It's gonna become a positive. Okay, so it's 80x equal to, well, if I add 72 to 152, what do I get? Negative 80? Anybody thumbs up on that? All right, we got a couple, so there you go. So now just divide by 80, and we get the answer of negative 1. Okay, so x is negative 1. So there you go. So your homework is basically questions like this. Nothing too terribly difficult. Yeah, it might take you a couple steps, but it shouldn't be like brain racking or anything like that.